The night sky above the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico was ablaze with stars, a glittering tapestry of cosmic wonders that had captivated humanity for millennia. Dr. Marcus Reeves, a veteran astronomer with salt and pepper hair and a perpetual look of wonder in his eyes, sat hunched over his computer terminal, sifting through the endless stream of data from the massive radio telescope. It was a quiet night, like countless others before it. The soft hum of equipment and the occasional click of a keyboard were the only sounds that broke the silence. Marcus rubbed his tired eyes, considering calling it a night when suddenly an alarm blared through the control room. His heart racing, Marcus's fingers flew across the keyboard, pulling up the source of the anomaly. What he saw made his breath catch in his throat. There, amidst the cosmic background radiation, was a pattern. Not the random noise of a pulsar or the rhythmic beats of a distant star, but something unmistakably artificial. "This can't be," he whispered, his voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and disbelief. He double-checked the readings, triple-checked them, but the result was always the same. The signal was real, and it was coming from somewhere in our own solar system. Within hours, the news had spread like wildfire through the scientific community. The world's most powerful telescopes, both on Earth and in orbit, turned their gaze towards the source of the signal. It didn't take long to pinpoint its origin, a previously undetected object in orbit around Jupiter. As the days passed, the world held its breath. Governments convened emergency meetings, religious leaders offered prayers and guidance, and the public oscillated between excitement and fear. Humanity stood on the precipice of the greatest discovery in its history, proof that we were not alone in the universe. Dr. Amelia Foster, the director of NASA's Exobiology Division, found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity. Her office had become a command center, with screens displaying a constant stream of data and images from the mysterious object. "What do we know so far?" she asked, addressing the room full of the world's brightest minds in astronomy, physics, and xenobiology. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a young astrophysicist with a reputation for thinking outside the box, stepped forward. "The object appears to be artificial in nature, approximately 500 meters in length. Its composition is unlike anything we've ever encountered. It's not emitting any heat signature, and our radar signals seem to pass right through it." Amelia nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. "And the signal?" Marcus, who had been flown in from Arecibo, spoke up. "It's a repeating pattern, Dr. Foster. Complex, but with a clear mathematical structure. We're still working on decoding it, but one thing's for certain, this is no natural phenomenon." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They were looking at irrefutable evidence of an alien civilization, one advanced enough to place an artifact in our solar system without detection. "We need to respond," Amelia said, her voice firm with resolve. "Humanity needs to make its presence known." The debate that followed was heated. Some argued for caution, warning of the potential dangers of alerting an advanced alien civilization to our presence. Others pushed for immediate and open communication, seeing it as an opportunity for unprecedented scientific and cultural exchange. In the end, the decision was made. Humanity would respond, not with fear or aggression, but with a message of peace and a demonstration of our scientific achievements. Over the next weeks, as the world watched with bated breath, a coalition of international space agencies worked tirelessly to prepare a mission to Jupiter. The goal: to study the alien artifact up close and, if possible, to make direct contact. The chosen vessel for this historic mission was the UNSS Horizon, a state-of-the-art spacecraft equipped with the latest in propulsion and scientific technology. Its crew, carefully selected from a pool of the Earth's most qualified candidates, represented the best humanity had to offer. As the day of launch approached, the world united in a way it never had before. Old rivalries were set aside, and resources were pooled. For the first time in human history, our species acted as one, driven by a common purpose: to reach out and touch the stars. On the day of the launch, Billions around the world watched as the horizon lifted off from Cape Canaveral, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of an entire planet. As the spacecraft disappeared into the sky, a new chapter in human history began. But even as humanity celebrated this monumental step, questions lingered. What would they find when they reached Jupiter? What secrets did the alien artifact hold? And perhaps most importantly, were its creators friends or foes? Little did they know that their actions had set in motion a chain of events that would challenge the very foundations of human civilization and redefine our place in the cosmos. As the Horizon embarked on its journey back on Earth, scientists continued to study the signal emanating from the artifact. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a brilliant cryptographer, had been working around the clock to decipher its meaning. On a fateful night, as the Horizon passed the orbit of Mars, Elena made a breakthrough. Her eyes widened as she stared at her computer screen, hardly daring to believe what she was seeing. It's a key," she whispered, her voice hoarse from lack of sleep. A key to understanding their language. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. With this key, humanity now had a chance to communicate with the alien civilization. But as they delved deeper into the message, they realized it was more than just a language primer. Hidden within the complex mathematical patterns was a warning of a threat so great it endangered not just humanity, but all life in the galaxy. As the Horizon continued its journey towards Jupiter, Earth found itself grappling with a chilling reality. They were no longer merely reaching out to say hello. They were answering a call for help. The artifact, it seemed, was not just a beacon, it was a test, and humanity's response would determine not just our fate, but the fate of countless civilizations across the stars. As Part 1 of the Nexus Protocol drew to a close, the stage was set for a cosmic drama unlike any other. Humanity stood on the threshold of a new era, one filled with wonder, danger, and the promise of greatness. The journey to Jupiter was just the beginning. The true test still lay ahead, waiting in the depths of space, ready to challenge everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. Dr. Elara Chen stood at the viewport of the International Space Station, her dark eyes reflecting the blue marble of Earth below. At 32, she was the youngest person ever to lead a major xenolinguistics project, and now she found herself at the center of humanity's greatest adventure. A soft chime from her comm device broke her reverie. "Dr. Chen, your presence is requested in the briefing room," came the crisp voice of Commander Sarah Hawkins. Elara took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. As she made her way through the station's corridors, her mind raced with the implications of Elena Rodriguez's breakthrough. The alien message wasn't just a greeting, it was a cry for help, a warning of a threat beyond human comprehension. The briefing room was packed with a mix of military personnel and civilian scientists. At the head of the table sat General Marcus Zeo, his stern features a mask of calm in the face of unprecedented circumstances. "Dr. Chen," he nodded as she entered. "I trust you've been briefed on the latest developments." Elara took her seat, feeling the weight of every eye in the room. "Yes, sir. The artifact's message contains more than just linguistic data. It speaks of a threat to galactic civilization." General Zeo's expression remained impassive. "Indeed, and that's why we've called you here. The mission parameters have changed. The Horizon isn't just making first contact anymore. They're walking into a situation we know nothing about, with potential consequences for all of humanity." He paused, his gaze sweeping the room before settling back on Elara. "We need someone on that ship who can decipher the alien language in real time. Someone who can bridge the gap between our civilizations when we make contact." Elara's heart raced as she realized where this was going. "Sir, are you saying?" "Dr. Chen, we're asking you to join the Horizon mission. You'll rendezvous with the ship as it passes Mars. Your expertise in xenolinguistics makes you uniquely qualified for this task." The room fell silent, all eyes on Elara. She felt a mix of emotions, excitement, fear, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. This wasn't just a career opportunity, it was a chance to shape the future of humanity. "Hi, I accept," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. The next few days were a whirlwind of preparation. Ilara underwent crash courses in space survival, emergency protocols, and basic piloting. As she trained, updates from the horizon kept coming in. The ship was making good progress, but the closer it got to Jupiter, the stranger the readings became. On the day of her departure, Ilara stood before the airlock of her transport ship, the Starling. Her parents' faces filled the screen of her comm device, a mixture of pride and worry in their eyes. "Ilara, my little star," her father said, his voice thick with emotion. "You've always reached for the impossible. Now you're reaching for the stars themselves." Her mother wiped away a tear. "We're so proud of you, sweetheart. Just come back to us, okay?" Ilara swallowed the lump in her throat. "I will, Mom, Dad, I promise. I love you both." With a final wave, she cut the communication and stepped into the Starling. As the airlock hissed shut behind her, Ilara felt a sense of finality. The next time she set foot on solid ground, it would be aboard the Horizon, hurtling towards an alien encounter that would change everything. The journey to rendezvous with the Horizon was uneventful, giving Ilara time to pore over the data from the artifact. The more she studied it, the more complex and beautiful the alien language became. It wasn't just a means of communication, it was a work of art, each symbol layered with meaning and nuance. As the Starling approached the Horizon, Ilara got her first real look at the ship that would be her home for the foreseeable future. It was a marvel of human engineering, its sleek design a testament to the incredible progress humanity had made in such a short time. The docking procedure went smoothly, and as Ilara floated through the airlock into the Horizon, she was greeted by Captain Alexei Volkov, a veteran cosmonaut with a reputation for unflappable calm. "Welcome aboard, Dr. Chen," he said, his deep voice carrying a hint of a Russian accent. "We're glad to have you with us." Ilara shook his hand, feeling the strength in his grip. "Thank you, Captain. I'm honored to be here." As Alexei gave her a tour of the ship, Ilara met the rest of the crew. There was Dr. Kumi Sato, the ship's exobiologist, whose excited chatter about potential alien life forms brought a smile to Ilara's face. Chief Engineer Maria Santos greeted her with a firm handshake and a twinkle in her eye, proudly showing off the Horizon's advanced propulsion system. But it was the ship's AI, Advanced Responsive Intelligence Assistant, that truly captured Ilara's attention. Aeria's holographic avatar, a shimmering blue figure, appeared before them as they entered the bridge. "Welcome, Dr. Chen," Aria said, her voice melodious and warm. "I look forward to working with you on deciphering the alien language." Ilara couldn't help but be impressed. Aria was the most advanced AI she had ever encountered, a crucial member of the crew in her own right. As the days passed and Jupiter grew larger in their viewport, the tension on the ship became palpable. They were approaching the coordinates of the alien artifact, and soon they would come face to face with the unknown. One evening, as Ilara was working late in her quarters, poring over the latest translations, she felt a subtle shift in the ship's movement. Frowning, she made her way to the bridge. "Captain," she said as she entered, "what's going on?" Alexei's face was grim as he turned to her. "We've picked up an anomaly near the artifact, some kind of disturbance in space-time." Ilara's eyes widened as she looked at the main screen. There, nestled in the swirling storms of Jupiter's atmosphere, was a sight that defied explanation. A tear in the very fabric of space, shimmering and pulsing with otherworldly energy. "Is that a wormhole?" she breathed, hardly daring to believe what she was seeing. "We believe so," Alexei nodded. "And if our readings are correct, it's artificial, created by whoever left the artifact." As the crew watched in awe, the wormhole pulsed, sending out a wave of energy that washed over the horizon. The ship's systems flickered for a moment before stabilizing. And then, clear as day, A message appeared on their screens. The alien language Elara had been studying for weeks, now translated perfectly by AIA. The gateway is open. The trial begins. Prove your worth, children of Earth, or face extinction. Elara felt a chill run down her spine. This was it, the moment humanity had been preparing for. Whatever lay beyond that wormhole would determine the fate of their entire species. As alarms blared and the crew rushed to their stations, Elara knew that everything she had learned, everything she was, would be put to the test. The true journey was just beginning, and the stakes couldn't be higher. With a shared look of determination, Captain Volkov gave the order. Take us in. The horizon surged forward, plunging into the swirling maw of the wormhole. In a flash of blinding light and a sensation of reality twisting around them, they were pulled into the unknown. As the light faded and the ship stabilized, Elara gasped. The viewport showed not the familiar sight of their solar system, but an alien sky filled with strange constellations and swirling nebulae. They had crossed the threshold. Now, the real test would begin. Journey to the unknown. The horizon emerged from the wormhole into a sea of stars unlike anything the crew had ever seen. Vast, swirling nebulae painted the cosmos in hues of purple, green, and blue. Strange, crystalline structures floated in the void, reflecting starlight like cosmic mirrors. My God, breathed Captain Volkov, his usual stoicism cracking in the face of such beauty and strangeness. Where are we? Dr. Kumi Sato was already at her station, fingers flying over holographic displays. According to these readings, we're in the Andromeda Galaxy. We've traveled over 2.5 million light-years in an instant. The implications of this hit the crew like a physical blow. They were further from home than any human had ever been, in a part of the universe that should have been forever beyond their reach. Elara felt a mixture of awe and terror. Her expertise in alien languages suddenly seemed woefully inadequate in the face of this cosmic journey. But there was no time for doubt. A new signal was coming through, pulsing with an urgency that AIA quickly translated. Visitors from Earth. The message read, "You have passed a first test. Your courage in facing the unknown is noted, but greater challenges await. Navigate the stellar labyrinth. Find the nexus. Your time begins now." As if on cue, a holographic map blazed to life in the center of the bridge. It showed a complex network of wormholes and space-time distortions, all leading to a central point marked with a symbol that Elara recognized from her studies of the artifact. "The nexus," she murmured. "Whatever it is, that's where we need to go." Captain Volkov nodded grimly. "All right, people. You heard the alien overlords. We've got a labyrinth to navigate. Miss Santos, how are our systems holding up after that little jaunt across the universe?" Chief Engineer Maria Santos' voice came through the comm, tinged with a mix of excitement and concern. "All systems are operational, Captain, but that wormhole took a toll on our power reserves. We'll need to be careful with our energy usage if we want to make it through this labyrinth." "Understood. Dr. Chen, I need you to work with AIA to decipher any more messages we might receive. Dr. Saito, keep scanning for any signs of life or potential threats. Let's move, people." As the horizon ventured deeper into the stellar labyrinth, the crew faced challenge after challenge. They navigated through asteroid fields of impossible geometry, where rocks seemed to phase in and out of existence. They skirted the edges of tiny black holes that defied the laws of physics as they knew them. Throughout it all, Elara worked tirelessly, decoding messages and warnings hidden in the very fabric of space around them. Each successfully navigated obstacle brought new clues, new fragments of the alien language that slowly began to paint a picture of the civilization that had created this cosmic test. Days turned into weeks, and the strain began to show on the crew. Sleep was fitful, haunted by dreams of endless starfields and incomprehensible alien vistas. The constant vigilance required to navigate the labyrinth wore on their nerves, and tempers began to fray. It was during one such moment of tension that disaster struck. An argument between Dr. Seto and Maria Santos over power allocation to the sensors versus the engines distracted the crew at a crucial moment. They missed the warning signs of approaching temporal storm. The horizon was caught in a swirling vortex of distorted time. Alarms blared as the ship's hull groaned under the strain. Crew members experienced moments out of sync, seeing ghostly versions of themselves moving about the ship. All hands, brace for impact. Volkov's voice boomed over the comms, steady despite the chaos. Ilara clung to her station as reality seemed to twist around her. In that moment of crisis, as past, present, and possible futures collided, something extraordinary happened. The alien language she had been studying suddenly made sense in a way it never had before. It wasn't just a means of communication. It was a key to understanding the very nature of space-time itself. With newfound clarity, Ilara's fingers flew over her console. "Captain, I can get us out of this, but I need full control of the ship's systems." Volkov hesitated for only a second before nodding. "Do it, Dr. Chen. AOIA, give her what she needs." As AOIA transferred control to Ilara's station, the xenolinguist began to input commands in the alien language. The ship responded, its movements becoming smoother, more purposeful. It was as if the horizon itself understood the language of the cosmos. With a final surge of power, Ilara guided the ship through a weak point in the temporal storm. There was a moment of gut-wrenching disorientation, and then calm. The horizon emerged into a quiet sector of space, the stellar labyrinth behind them. Ahead, a massive structure loomed, a geometric marvel that seemed to be made of pure energy and impossible angles. The Nexus, Ilara breathed, her voice filled with wonder and exhaustion. As the crew recovered from their ordeal, a new message appeared, this time manifesting as shimmering words in the air before them. "You have overcome the trials of the labyrinth. Your resourcefulness and ability to adapt are commendable, but the greatest test still awaits. Prepare yourselves, for you are about to face the guardians of the Nexus. Your actions here will determine not just your fate, but the fate of all humanity." The message faded, leaving the crew in stunned silence. They had come so far, faced so much, but it was clear that their journey was far from over. Captain Volkov was the first to speak, his voice carrying a mix of pride and determination. "Well done, all of you. Especially you, Dr. Chen. You've proven yourself invaluable to this mission. Now, let's see what these guardians have in store for us." As the horizon approached the Nexus, its sensors picked up signs of immense energy readings and complex technological signatures far beyond human understanding. The very fabric of space seemed to ripple around the structure, as if reality itself bowed to its presence. Ilara felt a mix of anticipation and fear. Everything they had faced, everything they had learned, had led to this moment. Whatever awaited them at the Nexus would change the course of human history forever. With a shared look of determination, the crew of the Horizon prepared to face their greatest challenge yet. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. As they drew closer to the Nexus, one thing was clear: nothing would ever be the same again. As the Horizon approached the Nexus, the massive structure seemed to come alive. Pulses of energy rippled across its surface, and great arcs of what looked like lightning danced between its impossible geometries. The crew watched in awe as a section of the Nexus began to shift and reconfigure, opening like a giant cosmic flower to reveal a docking bay large enough to accommodate their ship. "Well," Captain Volkov said, breaking the stunned silence, "I suppose that's an invitation if I've ever seen one. Mr. Ravi, take us in." Slowly. Lieutenant Amai Ravi, the Horizon's pilot, nodded nervously as he guided the ship towards the opening. As they passed through the energy fields surrounding the Nexus, the ship's systems flickered momentarily before stabilizing. "All systems normal, Captain," reported Maria Santos from engineering. "But there's something odd. Our power levels are actually increasing. It's as if the Nexus is feeding us energy directly. Before anyone could respond to this unexpected development, a new presence made itself known on the bridge. A holographic figure materialized before them, its form constantly shifting between various alien shapes and structures. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Welcome, explorers of Earth," the being said, its words translated instantly by AI. "I am the interface, a construct created by the Guardians to communicate with those who reach the Nexus. You have done well to come this far, but your greatest trial is yet to come." Ilara stepped forward, her heart racing. "We've come seeking knowledge and understanding. The message we received on Earth spoke of a threat. Can you tell us more?" The interface's form rippled, taking on a more humanoid shape. "The threat is real and dire, Dr. Ilara Chen. It is a force that consumes entire civilizations, that bends the very laws of physics to its will. We call it the Void." Images began to flash around them, entire galaxies being swallowed by a creeping darkness, worlds crumbling as reality itself seemed to unravel around them. The crew watched in horror as the scale of the threat became clear. For eons, the interface continued. "The Guardians have sought races with the potential to join our alliance against the Void. Many have tried, few have succeeded. Now, it is humanity's turn to prove its worth." Captain Volkov straightened, his jaw set with determination. "What would you have us do?" "You will face 3 trials," the interface explained. "The trial of mind, the trial of body, and the trial of spirit. Each will test you in ways you cannot imagine. Success will earn you the right to join our alliance and gain the knowledge and technology needed to combat the Void. Failure will mean the end of your species." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. The weight of responsibility settling on their shoulders was almost palpable. Dr. Saito was the first to break the silence. "And if we refuse, if we turn back now?" The interface's form darkened. "The Void does not discriminate. It does not negotiate. It consumes all in its path. Without the Alliance's protection and knowledge, Earth would fall within a generation. Your choice is simple. Face the trials or condemn your world to oblivion." Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. The fate of humanity rested on their success. She looked around at her crewmates, seeing the same mix of fear and resolve in their eyes. "We accept your trials," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The interface nodded, its form beginning to fade. "Then let the trials begin. May your species prove worthy of survival." As the hologram disappeared, the ship suddenly lurched, caught in some unseen force. The crew scrambled to their stations as alarms blared. "What's happening?" Volkov demanded. "We're being pulled deeper into the Nexus, Captain," Ravi reported, his hands flying over the controls. "I've lost all helm control." The view screen showed them passing through layers of the massive structure, each more complex and mind-bending than the last. Reality seemed to twist and warp around them until, with a final jolt, they came to a stop in a vast chamber. As the ship settled, 3 doorways materialized in the chamber walls, each glowing with a different color, one blue, one red, one golden. Aria's voice cut through the tension. "Captain, I'm receiving data packets from the Nexus. It appears we are to choose one representative for each trial. The trials must be faced simultaneously." Volkov nodded grimly. "Right. We need our best for this. Dr. Chen, you'll take the trial of mind. Your understanding of the alien language and quick thinking make you our best shot. Lieutenant Ravi, you're our most physically capable. You'll handle the trial of body. And Dr. Saito, your compassion and insight will be crucial for the trial of spirit." The chosen crew members exchanged nervous glances but nodded in agreement. As they prepared to disembark, Ilara felt Captain Volkov's hand on her shoulder. "Dr. Chen," he said softly, "you've gotten us this far. Whatever happens in there, know that you've already made humanity proud." Ilara swallowed hard, nodding her thanks. As she approached the blue doorway that would lead her to her trial, she took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever lay ahead. The moment she stepped through the threshold, the world around her dissolved into a sea of swirling blue energy. She felt her body become weightless, her mind expanding to fill the space around her. In this realm of pure thought, she realized the trial of mind would push her to the very limits of human cognition. As the energy coalesced into complex, ever-shifting patterns, Ilara heard a voice, or perhaps felt it would be more accurate to say she experienced a voice in her mind. Welcome, Ilara Chen of Earth. Your trial of mind begins now. Are you prepared to have everything you know challenged? To see the universe as it truly is? Ilara gathered her courage and projected her thoughts outward. I am ready. And with that, the true test began. The fate of humanity now rested on the shoulders of Ilara and her companions, each facing trials that would push them beyond anything they had ever experienced. The clock was ticking, and the void was waiting. The greatest adventure in human history had only just begun. Ilara found herself floating in an endless sea of information. Streams of data flowed around her, each containing vast libraries of knowledge from civilizations across the universe. The challenge was clear. She had to navigate this ocean of information, discerning truth from falsehood, relevance from distraction. As she focused her thoughts, the data began to coalesce into more recognizable forms. Mathematical equations bloomed like fractal flowers, historical events played out in holographic dioramas, and scientific theories took shape as complex, interlocking structures. Impressive, the voice of the trial echoed in her mind. But mere observation is not enough. To pass this trial, you must contribute. Show us that humanity has something unique to offer the cosmic discourse. Ilara's mind raced. What could humanity possibly offer to civilizations eons ahead of them technologically? Then it hit her, our creativity, our ability to think outside the box, to find connections where others saw none. She began to weave together seemingly disparate pieces of information, creating new theories and hypotheses. She combined the mathematical precision of one alien race with the philosophical insights of another, adding human intuition and creativity to bridge gaps in understanding. As she worked, she felt the approving hum of the trial consciousness. She was on the right track. Meanwhile, in a realm of physical challenges, Lieutenant Amo Ravi found himself facing the trial of body. He stood on a platform suspended in a void, surrounded by obstacles that defied the laws of physics as he knew them. To pass this trial, a booming voice announced, "You must navigate the quantum maze. Your physical form will be tested in ways you cannot imagine." Ravi took a deep breath and stepped forward. Immediately, the world around him shifted. Gravity fluctuated wildly. One moment he was weightless, the next he was struggling against crushing force. Platforms appeared and disappeared randomly, requiring split-second decisions and incredible agility. But Ravi was not just physically fit, he was adaptable. He began to see patterns in the chaos, anticipating changes before they happened. His movements became a dance, flowing with the ever-changing environment rather than fighting against it. In yet another realm, Dr. Kumi Saito faced the trial of spirit. She found herself in a featureless white space, seemingly alone until shimmering forms began to take shape around her. They were aliens of all shapes and sizes, each radiating intense emotions, fear, anger, joy, sorrow. To pass this trial, a gentle voice whispered, "You must bridge the gap between species. Show us that humanity has the empathy and wisdom to unite a fractured galaxy." Kumai hesitated only for a moment before approaching the nearest alien, a towering insectoid creature radiating waves of sorrow. As she drew closer, she began to feel its emotions as if they were her own. Images flashed through her mind, a dying world, a lost civilization. Without thinking, she reached out and placed a hand on the creature's arm. "I'm so sorry for your loss," she said softly, "but your people's memory lives on through you. Their story deserves to be told." The alien's sorrow lessened, replaced by a glimmer of hope. Encouraged, Humi moved on to the next being, and the next, listening to their stories, sharing in their joys and sorrows, offering words of comfort or celebration as needed. Back on the horizon, Captain Volkov and the remaining crew watched anxiously as data streamed in from the trials. They could see vital signs, brainwave patterns, but had no way to communicate with their teammates. "They're holding their own," Maria Santos reported, studying the readouts. "But these trials, the stress on their systems is unlike anything I've ever seen." Volkov nodded grimly. "They're strong. They'll make it through. They have to." Hours passed, though time seemed to have little meaning in this strange realm. Ilara's mind expanded beyond anything she had thought possible, grasping concepts that would revolutionize human understanding of the universe. Ravi's body was pushed to its absolute limits and beyond, achieving feats that defied human physiology. Humi's spirit touched countless alien minds, forging connections across the barriers of species and culture. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the 3 trials concluded simultaneously. Ilara, Ravi, and Humi found themselves back in the chamber with the 3 doorways, exhausted but triumphant. The interface materialized before them, its form more solid and defined than before. "Congratulations, representatives of Earth. You have passed the trials, each of you demonstrating qualities that will be crucial in the fight against the Void." The 3 humans shared relieved smiles, but their joy was short-lived as the interface continued. However, this was merely the beginning. Now comes the true test. You must take what you have learned and use it to save not just your world, but countless others. The chamber walls dissolved, revealing a vast star field. In the distance, a creeping darkness could be seen, slowly engulfing stars and galaxies. "The Void approaches," the interface said sullenly. "Faster than we had anticipated. You have proven yourselves worthy of joining our alliance, but time is short. You must return to Earth, prepare your people, and take your place among the guardians of the cosmos." As the implications of this sank in, Ilara stepped forward. "We've come this far," she said, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. "Whatever it takes, we'll see this through, for Earth and for all life in the galaxy." The interface nodded, a hint of what might have been respect in its ever-shifting form. "Then let us begin. The fate of all rests in your hands now, children of Earth. May you be equal to the task that lies ahead." As the Horizon prepared to depart the Nexus, loaded with knowledge and technology beyond human imagining, the crew knew that their greatest challenge still lay ahead. They had to convince a fractious world to unite against a threat most couldn't even comprehend. The clock was ticking, the Void was coming, and the future of not just humanity, but all life in the galaxy hung in the balance. The journey home would be long, but the real work was only just beginning. The Nexus Protocol had been initiated, and Earth's trial by fire was about to begin. Humanity's triumph. The journey back to Earth was a blur of preparation and anticipation. The Horizon, now imbued with technology far beyond human understanding, cut through space-time like a hot knife through butter. What had taken them months on the outward journey now took mere days. As they approached the familiar blue marble of their home planet, the weight of their responsibility settled heavily on the crew's shoulders. They carried with them the key to humanity's survival, but also the knowledge of a threat so vast it threatened the very fabric of the universe. "We're picking up transmissions from Earth, Captain," Lieutenant Ravi reported, his voice tight with emotion. They've been searching for us. We've been gone for over a year in Earth time." Captain Volkov nodded grimly. "Open a channel to mission control. It's time to face the music." The next few hours were a whirlwind of debriefings, explanations, and barely contained panic from Earth's leaders. The revelation of the Void's existence and the role humanity now had to play in the cosmic drama was met with disbelief, fear, and in some corners, outright denial. But as the Horizon descended through Earth's atmosphere, escorted by a fleet of fighter jets, Ilara knew that the real challenge was just beginning. They had to unite a world that had spent millennia divided. They had to prepare a civilization for a war unlike any it had ever faced. The landing site was a sea of flashing cameras and shouting reporters. World leaders from every nation had gathered to witness the return of the Horizon and hear firsthand the message it brought from the stars. As Ilara stepped off the ship, the last to disembark, she felt the weight of billions of eyes upon her. Taking a deep breath, she approached the podium that had been set up for this moment. "People of Earth," she began, her voice carried across the globe by countless broadcasts, "we stand at a crossroads. What we have discovered among the stars will change everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe." Over the next hour, Ilara laid out the situation in clear, unambiguous terms. She spoke of the void, of the alliance of alien civilizations fighting against it, and of the role Earth now had to play in this cosmic struggle. "We have been given a choice," she concluded, her voice ringing with conviction. "We can turn away from this challenge, bury our heads in the sand and await our doom, or we can rise to meet it, to take our place among the stars and fight for the future of not just our world, but all worlds." The silence that followed was deafening. Then slowly, a murmur began to build. Questions were shouted, debates erupted, but underlying it all was a sense of purpose, of humanity beginning to grasp the enormity of what lay ahead. The months that followed were a time of unprecedented change and cooperation on Earth. Old rivalries were set aside as nations pooled their resources and knowledge. The technology brought back by the Horizon sparked a new renaissance in science and engineering. Ilara, Ravi, and Kumi found themselves at the center of it all, working tirelessly to prepare humanity for what was to come. They shared the knowledge they had gained in their trials, pushing the boundaries of human understanding in physics, biology, and philosophy. As the first anniversary of the Horizon's return approached, humanity had made strides that would have seemed impossible just a year before. The first faster-than-light ships were under construction, using principles derived from the Nexus technology. A global defense network was taking shape, designed to detect and respond to incursions from the void. But it wasn't just in technology that Earth was changing. A new sense of unity had taken hold. People from all walks of life were coming together, driven by a shared purpose. The knowledge that they were not alone in the universe, and that they had a crucial role to play in its defense, had sparked a cultural and spiritual revolution. On the eve of the anniversary, Ilara stood atop the newly constructed Nexus Tower in New York, a gleaming spire of alien alloys and human ingenuity that served as Earth's link to the Galactic Alliance. As she looked out over the city, she saw not just the lights of human civilization, but the promise of a future among the stars. A soft chime alerted her to an incoming transmission. The face of the interface appeared on a nearby screen, its ever-shifting form now a familiar sight. "Ilara Chen of Earth," it said, its tone carrying a hint of what might have been pride. "The Alliance has been monitoring your progress. We must admit, your species has exceeded all expectations." Ilara smiled. "We had good teachers, and a lot of motivation." "Indeed, but the real test is yet to come. Our long-range sensors have detected void activity in a neighboring galaxy. The time has come for Earth to take its place on the front lines." Ilara felt a mixture of fear and determination wash over her. This was what they had been preparing for. "We're ready," she said, her voice steady. "Just tell us where to go." As the transmission ended, Ilara looked up at the night sky. Among the familiar constellations, she could now pick out the faint lights of Alliance outposts and patrol ships. Earth was no longer alone in the cosmic night. She activated her comm link. "Captain Volkov, Dr. Sato, Lieutenant Ravi, it's time. Assemble the fleet. We have our first mission." As alarms began to sound across the globe, calling Earth's newly minted defenders to action, Ilara felt a surge of pride and hope. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger, more united, and ready to take its place among the stars. The void was coming, yes, but Earth would meet it head-on, not just fighting for its own survival, but for the survival of all life in the galaxy. The Nexus Protocol had been more than just a test. It had been a crucible, forging humanity into something greater than it had ever been before. As the first ships of Earth's fleet rose into the night sky, their engines glowing with the power of stars, Ilara knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them together. The next chapter of their cosmic adventure was about to begin, and the entire universe was waiting to see what Earth would do next. The end was just the beginning. Humanity's greatest journey was only just starting, and the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter in anticipation of what was to come.